Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to Healing from Complex PTSD. My name's Linda. I'm a certified trauma recovery coach and supervisor. Welcome to the channel. I know it's been a while since we've been able to connect, but I've been busy moving all the education material to a new platform because it's a much easier, more modern platform, and you're going to love it. So everybody that's had the honour or privilege or just the joy of moving over to the new platform are going, yes, this works. And we've had to wait so long for this technology to be available. Okay, so today I want to share with you some information about complex trauma and finding a helpful dentist. Now, if you're like me, going to the dentist can be super traumatic. And I know this gets bandied around a lot, the word trauma, but I really mean, is that traumatic? Even the idea of going, it's like, how do I get myself in the front door? How do I even get myself to cross that door into sitting in the chair? And I say that now because I didn't realise it at the time when I first started going just how bad it was. But my dentist actually said to me last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, they said, you had trouble even getting across the door to come and sit in the chair. And I went, wow, I knew I was bad, but I didn't realise somebody else could see it as well. So what I want to do today is give you some information that you can begin to build a foundation on what you do and don't want in a dentist. Okay. Now, I also did a check-in with my global twin, Miss Charlotte, because I wanted to know if she had felt the same way, if she used the same things, or what happened. So I put the list together and we've added an extra one in for Miss Charlotte because everybody's different. So make notes, and the post that you see on your screen with me will be up and in all the social media platforms. And if you're on YouTube alone, in the community section is a whole bunch of posts that I've been putting in there while I haven't had time to come and do videos. Okay, so let's get to it. So the first thing we want to do before we even choose the dentist is speak to the receptionist. Okay, we want to know and get a sense of what the people are like at the front desk, because we will be having to communicate with them as well. We want to ask them if they have a trauma informed, a trauma sensitive, a compassionate, or insert whatever you need there. We want to know if they're aware basically that people have different needs as well. So it's important that we get a sense of, can I at least come in and talk to the receptionist? All right, because if you can't do that with this receptionist, if they're not giving you a sense that they care, then you're not going to get across the front line. You're really not. And that was one of the first things I did when I found my dentist, was to speak to reception and get a sense of whether I had any opportunity to raise concerns, or, was there a care factor there? Was there an understanding or not? And if there's not, then I'm not going to keep going with the appointments there. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is make a simple appointment. Now, after I had a carer for 2.5 years who didn't brush my teeth with any kind of regularity, my teeth were so bad that I needed lots of work done. But I wasn't going to go and have lots of work done with somebody I couldn't trust actually listen to me, okay? And I did have false starts, all right? And especially in emergencies, like when you're having an emergency, you can't go through this process. And this is why it's best done now before there's an emergency. She says with great hindsight. Now, you want to make a simple appointment. Now, a simple appointment is something like getting your teeth cleaned, or even just having a checkup, where they run through and can let you know what you may need first to do with your teeth. Just keep it really simple. And I got to the point where simple was seeing the kids' dental cleaner, because being the kids' dental cleaner, they were very sensitive about emotions. Okay, so remember, with kids, their prefrontal cortex isn't engaged, so they are going to be very emotional in stressful situations. So I went and started seeing her, and that was one of the best choices I made for getting my teeth clean. However, I still needed to find a dentist because my dentist had moved and work through it. Now, make a list of what you need when you're in that chair. So for me, my list goes, I know I don't want to be told what's going on in my mouth at all, like zip, zero, nothing. And it's not just dentists, but even doctors are trained now that they tell you all the ins and outs of all the hokey pokey poles and everything, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I either have to have the surgery or the dental stuff done, and it's got to be done, or I'm aware that knowing what they're doing is just going to impact me so much that it's going to trick me into being triggered and overwhelmed, and cost me more time during the day because I have to go and pass out from the overwhelm, from the dissociation, and so on. So I wanted to know if the dentist would actually listen to me and say or not say what I needed to be said or not said. Okay? Make a list of what you need and what you do and don't want to be told. Okay? And even at the end of the proceeding, the dentist will say, so for argument's sake, I'm having crown work now, which is 2 appointments. So then they say, right, I will see you in 3 weeks for the second appointment. But we don't go into details about the appointment or what they're going to do. I don't want that information. They're the professional. They know what they're doing. That's why I've chosen them. And let's just keep moving. Now, to some people, that might sound insane, and that's okay. You're not me sitting in the chair with my complex trauma responses, automatic and unconscious, and you're not trying to get through it all, okay? For me, this is the best way, and I have a dentist that absolutely respects my boundaries and knows that I manage well that way, even to the point where I had my hands like this on my chest yesterday, and my fingers were turning blue, and they said, you need to unclench your hands, right? So someone who's going to care. And if you want to be informed what's going on, tell them you want to know what you should be feeling now, what you shouldn't be feeling, and so you know whether something doesn't feel right. It's up to you what you want to know and how much you want to know. You get to be in charge of those conditions because it's you there in that chair and you will know what you need. Okay? Now, stick to your list of options. And if a dentist doesn't have the discipline to control themselves and not tell you when that's what you want, then they're not the dentist who's going to respect you. If you're in a small town and it's the only dentist, then you're going to have to advocate for yourself and repeat yourself and say, I don't want to be told until they hear you. And the reality of life is some people need to be told repeatedly that this is what you do and don't want. All right, it can be said very kindly, very compassionately, but they need to understand what you do and don't want. And look, I've met some dentists that I would just never set foot in the door again, ever. They didn't hear me, they didn't see what I needed, just total no respect for what I needed as a client, okay? So, and also we have a hand signal, which, because I know them and have seen them so often now, they know I don't need it. But in the beginning, we had a hand signal where if I wanted them to stop, I would put my hand up and say, that's my signal to say stop. Because, of course, you can't say stop when you've got your mouth full of stuff, and you don't want to lurch forward with a mouthful of stuff. Okay? So work out a hand signal as well that suits you in the beginning so that you know that you can say stop and they will stop. And it's vital that this respect is there for every individual. And if you're in a situation, just as an ad lib on the side, if you're in a situation where you're having surgery and you don't want to be told the details, you don't have to be told the details. Okay? At the time that I was having surgery, I told them they needed to tell my then husband what was going on if they needed to tell someone, but I was happy to sign the paperwork because the surgery had to be done. It wasn't an optional extra, okay? But I don't want to know all the ins and outs. It is too much information for me as a person, okay? So if things go wrong, they go wrong. It's not something I can do anything about. But I don't need to know all the ins and outs of what can and can't go wrong. I personally find it too distressing. And others don't. And if you don't and you want to know the ins and outs and they're not giving them to you, then you need to ask for them as well. Okay? All right, gang. I will talk to you soon. And remember to check out the community posts if you're on YouTube, because there'll be information in there that can help along your journey as well. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.